Hey guys, this is Greg Denning, and you are in the School of Awesome Sauce, where I share with you amazing stories and strategies to help you live an extraordinary life. Hey, my friends. Welcome to another episode. Thanks for being here. Today, we're going to talk about when life just gets hard. And I guess it's fitting because I've been feeling sick, so I'm actually really cold. my throat hurts. My nose is clogged. I'm sitting here freezing, but I'm like, I gotta share this message. I have to share this message. And life has a way of doing that, doesn't it? That things can get tough, and I've had my fair share of hard times. I've told you some of those stories if you listen to some of the earlier podcasts, the time I was on my own, 16 years old, the holiday seasons. Those were especially hard times when it was Christmas and New Year's and my birthday, and just alone. Nothing happening the way you want it to, right? When life, you have this dream, this goal, this desire, this idea, an ideal of how life should be and how you want it to live, and it just doesn't do that. And you want to just curse life, right? Curse you, life! Why are you ruining this? Why is it so hard? And then it happens in other times when you have injuries or illness, and when you lose work. We've had times. It's one thing when you don't have any money and you're by yourself, you're on your own, right? I had an old pickup truck. It was all rusty and beat up, and sometimes I had to sleep in that, but at least I had that, right? And there's times when I didn't have much to eat, and that's okay. But when you have a family, when you have a spouse, and you have children, and you run out of money, that's devastating. And when you're trying, you guys, this is where it gets gut-wrenching, is where you're trying so hard to be a good person and to do the right things and to work, and it just seems like the doors are closed, and it actually feels like sometimes that things are conspiring against you. And so you wake up, and we've had times like this. You wake up, and being awake is worse than being asleep, because your dreams are sometimes better than your reality. And you just have this pain in your gut, and this pain in your heart, and this pain in your head. And life is tough. Life can be tough. And what do you do? What do you do when life's tough? I'm pretty confident that everyone listening to this has had challenges and trials in life. And I'm pretty confident that you will have more challenges and trials in life. Don't want to be the bearer of bad news here or Mr. Pessimistic, but we're going to have some challenges. And as hard as we try to avoid them, and as much as we seek comfort and seek to avoid hard times, they come. And there's even a point, and I'll mention this in a little bit here, there's even a point when we should seek out challenge. Not like we should seek out trouble, but like we should push ourselves and our limits by taking on massive goals that actually create challenges for us. But I want to share a couple of times and instances. I had the wonderful opportunity to go to Peru when I was 19 years old, and I went down. I went down to serve the people and love the people, and that was the first time I've been out of the country. And I got down there and I got sick. And I was down there for a long time, and I got sick often. It was a time period in Peru that it wasn't very clean. It was quite dirty. The infrastructure was really bad. There was garbage everywhere. Um, the food wasn't all that clean, and so I mean, I felt like I had diarrhea the whole time. I'm sure I didn't, but man, I had it a lot, and I was throwing up quite often, just violently vomiting when your gut is in a knot and your head's exploding, and you want to die. And I remember when I initially got there, they said always wear sandals. Like if you have your shoes on and then you have your sandals on, like don't let your feet touch the floor. Well, I mistakenly assumed that, oh, surely that doesn't mean even in the shower. Like I have to wear my sandals in the shower, and that was my mistake. And so I ended up getting some kind of bacteria or something in my feet because I let my bare feet touch the floor, and both of my feet got very swollen and excruciating pain. Of course, that created gnarly fevers, and so like I got a gut ache. I don't speak the language. My feet are just swollen, and I'm in delirium. And I'm living in these rough conditions, and it was tough. And I felt alone. I felt frustrated. I was in tons of pain. I was in a foreign place, and you just you feel this hurt, right? And almost a desperation. And it's easy in those moments to begin to feel hopeless, and even tempted to throw a pity party and then throw in the towel and quit, to give up. And our minds like to play tricks on us, you guys, where they start to let us think that it's always going to be like that it's never going to go away. You have a rough night and you think the night will never end. And even as we're facing hardship, maybe it lasts a few days or a few weeks, a few months, or for some a few years. And we have to, and this is what I want to talk about today, like, what do you do when life gets crazy hard, my friends? And if your life is really good right now, if things are going well, man, love it, enjoy it. Don't feel guilty about it in the least. Sometimes we feel guilty if our lives are too good and easy. And we hear other stories and think, oh my goodness, and we start to feel bad. But don't, just enjoy it, love it, live for it. And with a healthy mindset, realize, hey, challenges and trials are going to come. It's part of life. And what we want to talk about today is like, okay, how can we be resilient? How can we be determined? How can we be courageous? How can we maintain hope and happiness even when times are hard? And in fact, especially when they're hard. And luckily, Peru was an awakening for me. I told you my story about like when things were crazy hard as a young man. I ended up reading books like Man's Search for Meaning and The Hiding Place, and how the contrast there gave me perspective. Where I got to see where I was like, well, at least I'm not in a concentration camp and they're trying to kill me. Like, my conditions aren't very good, my circumstances aren't very pleasant. Often in fear, not quite enough food, not enough money. Feel pretty lonely and shy and timid, and seeing and experiencing things that I don't want to see and experience. But it wasn't that. And the contrast helped me. And the same thing happened in Peru. Because I was there and it was tough. But then I started looking around, and we were there to serve and love and teach the people. And as we got out and were walking around, like I saw their living conditions and I heard their stories. And I think this is one of the best things any one of us can ever do, is go serve and love and connect with and learn from and understand other people. And they taught me, the wonderful Peruvian people. We love the Peruvian people. Well, we love all people. We love them all. I haven't been anywhere where I'm like, I don't love these people. Like, I love them all. And Rachel and I have been back to Peru many times. We love it down there. We love the food. We love the culture. We love the history and the adventures. And, oh, man, we love that country. And it is totally transformed. Like, it's amazing now. We went down there. We were just down there not too long ago. We hiked the Inca Trail into Machu Picchu. And, man, the restaurants and the beauty and the wonder. Oh, man, we loved it all. It was amazing. And there's still some hardship. We went into some poor areas and spoke to them. But my friends, when you and I, when we sit down with people and we hear their story and we go into their world and we're in their environment and in their house and they tell us what they're facing, it gives us hope. And it gives us perspective. And it reminds us that life is still good even when it's hard. And that we can still keep our head up and we can still keep facing forward. And we can still keep pursuing life and goals and dreams. Even when it feels like everything is lost. And I want to give some strategies here, some things that have helped me face obstacles and difficulties. And I think I'll share some stories along the way. I can't get to them all today. Isn't that kind of funny? Like, I've had so many crazy hard times, I can't even share them all right now. And we'll have to come back to those stories, and some of them will shock you. And for some of you who've been through some crazy hard times, you're like, yeah, I get it. You know. And there's all kinds of levels of what's hard. But I want to share some things and give you some tools and some mindsets today that will help. And here's the first one. It's about planting and seeds. There's something wonderful, and I think connecting. Don't you love watching things grow? From a flower to a plant to a garden to a new tree. There's something magical about growth and about new life. And I remember reading something somewhere, hearing it and realizing that seeds, in order for something new to grow, for a new plant or flower or bush, something that's going to help us, that seed has to begin and grow in the darkness. It has to be buried. It has to be covered. It has to be away from the light, right? And we can't discount the darkness and those challenging dark days. Because it's actually in the darkness and in the challenge when things are piled on top of us that we have to fight for the light. We have to fight for the surface. That we get so much growth, an explosive growth. But in the moment, you're like, this doesn't feel like growth. This doesn't feel like awesome magic. This feels like horribleness, right? I want to be out of this. And I think there's a beauty there. Have you ever been out in the wilderness, maybe in the desert, been out far, far away from the cities, in the darkness? Maybe you're out camping or having adventures. Have you ever noticed that it seems to be darkest just before the dawn? And how much beauty there is in the darkness. And it's hard to remember that in life. There are many times I love to get up early. And there are many times that I would be awake at 4 o'clock. Or, in fact, okay, let me share another hard time. Here's another hard time. We first got married. And we were earning very little money. Couldn't even, man, it was tough. It was just me and my new bride, and we were excited and in love, trying to figure out how to live. And I'd gotten a job I'd longed for, and we had it. We got an old ancient house. It was a piece of junk. And we're trying to live in it, and still didn't have enough. And so I needed to get some extra work, and there was an opportunity to milk cows. So I was up milking cows, at the 3:30 shift in the winter, and sloshing through manure and urine. But it was good, and it was good to get up at 3 a.m. and see so many stars. And it's in those dark moments. It's in the darkness. Now listen to this irony. Let this sink in, please. It's in the darkness that you see things. Isn't that beautiful and ironic? Of course, we see things in the light. And the light brings so much perspective and hope and warmth into our lives, but there are some things you can only see in the darkest moments. But too often when it gets dark, we close our eyes and we cringe, and we only want to be out of the darkness. And I get it, you guys. Me too. I don't want to be there. When it's hard, I don't want that. I just want it to be done. I want it to be over with. I want it to be light and warm and pleasant again. But there's something to be seen and many things to be learned if we will open our eyes and our minds and our hearts. And what I've learned is that the most successful people I know are very good at seeing beauty in the darkness. And they have trained themselves to think differently about challenges and trials and obstacles and setbacks and unexpected troubles and failures. And they don't resent it, and they don't hate it, and they definitely don't complain about it, and they don't quit. They humbly learn from it. Did you catch that? Like, that little formula right there, well, it's worth repeating. I'm going to do it. They've trained themselves to think differently about challenges and trials and obstacles and setbacks and unexpected troubles and failures, and they don't resent it, they don't hate it, they don't complain about it, and they don't quit. They humbly learn from it. And you and I need to learn to train ourselves how to think about hardship and challenge, right? And to step it up and to dig for that metal. I think I've taught you about metal, mettle. The metal, just that toughness inside of us that we need to draw on, right? When times are hard. But you and I, we can't draw from an empty well. Let that sink in there. You can't draw from an empty well. And we need to make sure that there's always water in that well. And that comes from growth and learning and perspective and attitude and determination and filling that well and integrity and character. There's so much there. And as we're learning, and again, you guys I don't want to make this seem like it's easy or simple, or just, oh, well, why aren't you doing that, right? But it is important that we actually learn to value the challenge. Something I say to my kids, I've just been saying it since before they were born. I love to say, feel the pain, love the pain. Feel the pain, love the pain. And so whenever we're out hiking or whenever we're doing something or working out or there's some kind of strain, say, feel the pain, love the pain. Or the kids be like, my legs hurt. Oh, I'm so tired. And I'm like, oh, that's great. What does that mean? Tell me what it means. And they all know, it means I'm getting stronger. And they all say, the little ones will be hiking, Dad, carry me, my legs hurt. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll carry you for a minute. Tell me why your legs hurt. 'Cause I'm getting stronger. And they all know it. That the strain and the burn and the soreness and the tired, the fatigue is a sign that we're getting stronger. And I want my kids to know that. And it was so cute. They've all embraced it now, and they just say it, right? And I'll kind of be walking past the doorway, and they'll be, the little ones will be in there. Feel the pain, love the pain. And our little 2-year-old was so cute. She's like, no, feel the pain, hate the pain. And it was so cute. I was like, oh, that's adorable. And the little 5-year-old, no, it's feel the pain, love the pain. And like they just pick it up. They pick up so much stuff. And if we're not careful, they'll pick up the complaining and the whining and crying and the blaming and the making excuses and the bad attitude. And so we've got to be intentional and deliberate about that. I mean, think about this. Like, one of the worst things you could do to someone is remove all of their problems and challenges. Because we cripple a person when we remove all their obstacles. And that's especially hard as a parent, because we want to remove all the obstacles and all the hurt. We want to do it for ourselves. We want to do it for people we love. But that's not always the best thing. I mean, obviously there's times to help and alleviate the load and help people out. I get that. I mean, I love serving and helping. But we got to make sure we're serving in a way that helps. Because there is helping that hurts. And sometimes we do ourselves and our children and others a disservice by removing all challenges and obstacles. Even with the best intent, if we do that, we could be doing problems. And Phillips Brooks said, do not pray for easy lives. Pray to be stronger men. And I'll add women there, of course. Do not pray for tasks equal to your powers. Pray for powers equal to your tasks. Then the doing of your work shall be no miracle, but you shall be the miracle. Close quote. I love that. I love that, right? We often pray like, oh, take this away from me. Let my life be easy. Please, can't you just remove this obstacle? Why? Why is this challenge here? Why is this struggle? And I love his counsel there to flip that and say, don't long for and hope for and pray for easy lives. We cripple ourselves. But let's pray for powers that are equal to our challenges. And our bad experiences can shape us and mold us and teach us and refine us, but they don't have to define us, right? That's beautiful. Like, we're not defined by them. We can be refined by them, but we have to go in with the desire to learn from them and love them and even value them. Let me share a thought here by Marcus Aurelius. He was the last great emperor of the Roman Empire. And he wrote, excuse me, oh man, the sore throat is upon us, right? And I want to share this thought. He was this great leader, and he wrote his thoughts. I don't think he ever intended to share them, from what I understand. They were just kind of his journal. But he shared some just brilliant ideas. And this is what he wrote. He said, our actions may be impeded, but there can be no impeding our intentions or dispositions. Whoa, just that first line is so powerful. Your actions may be impeded, but there can be no impeding our intentions or dispositions. See that? He feels unstoppable. Because we can accommodate and adapt. The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. See that brilliant? I mean, this guy is so wise, and he's teaching us here, and he's giving us power, my friends. That our minds are so powerful and our hearts are so powerful, we can be unstoppable. So even if there's an impediment, something that's impeding our actions, our mind has the power to adapt and convert to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting, right? So whatever obstacle's in our way, our mind can take that and convert it. And so then he says, the impediment to action advances action. That's like the greatest irony there is. He's literally saying the things that's standing in the way helps us. The impediment to action advances action. Oh, I love that. But most of us see an impediment, and what do? What do you do when you see an obstacle? Well, a lot of us just go, oh, man, no, oh. And we moan and whine and complain, and we quit. Like, as soon as we see it, we quit. Right? We're out running or biking, and we avoid the hill. I love running, and I've actually learned to appreciate the hills. I was going to say love the hills. I love the results that come from the hills and the strain, right? But in the moment, it sucks. It's hard. But if we're always avoiding them, we see the obstacle and we stop or turn the other way, we actually create more problems. And so I'm going to read that again. The impediment to action advances action. And here's this well-known famous line. What stands in the way becomes the way. What stands in the way becomes the way. And the obstacle then, my friends, the impediment is the way. And we find a way through it. We find a way over it. We gain the strength to move it. We grow. It teaches us. And sometimes you do go around it, and sometimes you choose a different way. But the impediment is what helps us. So when those hard, tough moments come around, don't quit, and don't just sit there and struggle with it and suffer. Learn to live through the challenge and learn because of the hard times. And not fear them. Don't be afraid of the tough times ahead. Be excited for the growth that will follow. Right? Be willing to get out and wrestle with it and get a little dirty and try things. Right? Because what's the ultimate goal? I wish we were all sitting together here and we could just talk. And what's the ultimate goal? What is the big picture? What is it you want most? And I think as we talk through this, and as I've met with thousands of people all over the world, like the ultimate goal is to be happy and to be our best selves, to reach for our potential. And in fact, that happiness is tied to that. Do you guys realize that true happiness, I think, is tied to challenge? Because we're growing, thriving human beings. We want growth, we want improvement, and we actually want challenge. I find that when people are living a very vapid life, it means there's no challenge in it, there's no stimulation for growth and excitement. There's nothing exciting or challenging, right? It's just boring. And yet sometimes we literally pursue that, and people we're told that, and we get this message to avoid it all, avoid it, get comfortable. And so we spend all of our time seeking comfort and ease. And you know what I found again and again and again? The people who constantly seek comfort and ease and avoid challenges and obstacles and difficulty, like they're just trying to find the easiest path, those are people that end up being very unhappy. And I often find that when I find people who are struggling to like themselves and love themselves, they're struggling with happiness and fulfillment, they just feel empty and discouraged and depressed, very often, not always, very often, it's because they don't have any challenge. They don't have any struggle. They don't have something bigger than themselves. And then what? And then here's the irony. Then little disturbances, little annoyances, totally rock them, and they fall apart, like, and this, that, and it's they're suffering because of this little annoyance. But I'm like, no, you actually need something big and challenging to look forward to and to wrestle with. We need adversity. We need to connect with ourselves and our souls and our growth and our potential and our destiny. Right? And sometimes, you guys, the best things that can ever happen when the crap hits the fan. And when you get to a spot, sometimes when you have nothing and nobody to help, and you got to dig deep, and you got to wrestle with that, just pull out the metal inside of you, right? METTLE, and we get serious, and we face that impediment, and say, who am I going to be, and what am I going to do? You with me? Does this make sense, you guys? Like, can you let that just kind of sink into your soul there, and become a new way of being, and a new perspective, and a new light? And remember this even when it's crazy hard. And we just say, I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna fight on. I'm gonna find beauty in the darkness. I'm gonna learn to see things in the dark. And I'm gonna grow. And I'm gonna become. And I'm gonna realize that it's the challenge that changes us. Write that down. Write it on your wall, man. Put it on your mirror. Put it on your phone. Put it on your screen top. It's the challenge that changes us. And to embrace it. And remember that the obstacle is the way. The impediment is the way. We're the seed. We're the seed that's growing into this beautiful, productive thing. And that the seed grows in the darkness. In our case, sometimes, different parts of our lives, we have to go back into the darkness, right? We have to keep getting replanted, so to speak, and these periods of growth where we feel like everything is piled on top of us. But can I plead with you? Don't give up. Don't let discouragement overcome you. Don't lose hope, and don't lose sight of what's coming. I'm watching the sunrise right now. And it's always so hopeful when the sun comes up and it's peeking over the mountains. And it brings light and beauty and warmth. And you remember, man, tomorrow's another day, and every day that sun comes up. It always has, man. Every day that sun comes up. And as dark as it is, and as long as it seems dark, and as hard as things are, and we sometimes think it'll never change, the sun will come up and things will change. And it'll especially change if you make them change and you grow and learn and improve. And when you're facing obstacles, like, face the obstacle. I guess that's the main thing I want to leave with you. When you're facing an obstacle, face the thing, man. Like, square up to it, face it, look it in the eye and say, okay, let's do this thing. But if you close your eyes and you sit down and you're like, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not doing anything, then the problem does persist. But if you'll dig deep, you find hope, you'll find friends and people that love you and support you. If you'll make the changes and learn from the lessons and put a smile on your face when it's hard to smile, then great things will come. And you'll look back with me at the hardest times and go, yeah, you know what? I'm actually sincerely grateful for the tough times. I'm grateful for the obstacles. And isn't this so fitting that even in the darkest moments, my friends, awesome is always an option. Reach upward. Hey everybody, thanks so much for listening to this episode. I hope you got a lot of value out of it and found some things that you can apply to your life right away. Hey, I'm being totally sincere when I say I live to help you live your extraordinary life. So I hope you'll reach out to me if you have any questions, or let me know how I can help you in any important area of your life. And in fact, this podcast is brought to you by the School of Awesome Sauce monthly coaching program. Take advantage of that. Get in there. If it's the best way to get a breakthrough to the next level so you can level up your health, your spirituality, your emotions, your mind, your relationships, your finances, business, every part of your life. Just get in there where you have a coach and a mentor. You have a supportive community to make things happen. So jump in there, take advantage of this, try it out, get in there with us, and level up your life. See you on the inside. Reach upward.